what's going on, guys? This is RNF, Ryan Nintendo Freak, back again with another video. So this is a different type of video that I have never done. I've seen a lot of people on YouTube doing tier ranking lists, and I've always wanted to do one, but I never really quite figure out like what kind of topic that I've wanted to do, or just like a certain something that I wanted to do a tier ranking list for. And then I was kind of thinking to myself, and I was like, you know what? When Sonic Movie 3 came out, I've never done my review for Sonic Movie 3, and it was mostly just because that it came out like right around Christmas time. So I was getting like right after I saw the movie, I was getting my house ready for my family Christmas party, and then once the new year hit, it was like trying to like start kind of like getting used to the whole new year and everything. So yeah, so I it was just like a lot of things were kind of happening in at my personal job and stuff that I just didn't really have enough time to actually do my review for Sonic Movie 3. And then as I was even thinking deeper about it, I never even talked about the Knuckles series when that came out. So I was like, what better way to actually do instead of doing like a review for each one, just do a ranking review or a ranking for the Sonic movie franchise. So I found this tier list right here. Oh, and by the way, this is my new setup that I have right here. I have a monitor or two monitors, and I have a microphone. I was trying to figure out like a good video to actually kind of announce like my new setup. So yeah, so this is actually pretty cool. So I found this tier list right here, and let's see. So we have Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, what is these? Sonic Drone Home. Okay, so there we go. Now that looks better because now we don't have those few extra rows right there. I don't know why that they added those few extra rows, but anyways, with my ranking of the Sonic movie franchise, we're going to go with the least best to the most best, and the reason why we are going to be kind of setting it up like that is mostly just because I don't really consider anything from the Sonic movie franchise bad. Maybe just like the weakest, but nothing bad or whatever. But anyways, let's jump right in and let's start off with the weakest one. So coming in last place for me would probably have to be the Knuckles series. So like I said, I don't really consider the Knuckles series bad, but just maybe the weakest one. So even though that it's my at the bottom of my list, I did find some enjoyment and I do have some good things about it. So one of the biggest things was what I was nervous for was when they were continuing the Knuckles character from Sonic 2 and they were going to bring him to Sonic, like when they announced that Sonic 3 was happening, and then when they also did announce that there was going to be a Knuckles series, I was kind of worried that the writing for Knuckles was not going to be as good as like he was for the second movie. He had like a really good character backstory and had a really good arc throughout the second movie, and also was a very hilarious character as well because he was a fish out of water character where he was kind of like Buzz Lightyear, how Buzz Lightyear thought he was a space ranger, and Knuckles thinks he's a warrior. So, or he is a warrior, but in the human world or in our world and stuff, he's kind of a fish out of water character. You guys know what I mean. But so yeah, so I just kind of thought, so even though with all those characteristics, he was a very lovable character. So I thought that when you do Sonic 3 and the Knuckles series, I didn't really think how well they were going to do the character or give the character justice in those. But honestly, the writing was actually pretty solid for the character, like continuing the character forward in his own series. So there was really no issues there. And also what I liked was that Idris Elba came back and did his role for Knuckles in the series as well, which that's really cool. And then also partnering up Knuckles with Wade, I thought that was going to be interesting because I was kind of curious on what they were going to do for the Knuckles series. I thought it was either going to be kind of like a prequel series, or I was kind of hoping it'd be a prequel to where it was going to be more in Sonic's world, and we are going to see the Echidna clan, and just more about Knuckles growing up and being a warrior and stuff, and how the Echidna clan just got wiped out. But they really developed Knuckles' backstory really well in the second film, so they didn't really need to do like a prequel series. And then I was also kind of thinking that maybe they could do some kind of like comedic series where he's trying to fit in and fighting villains in our world and stuff, because like Knuckles says, he is 1,000,000% muscle. So yeah, so I thought that maybe like a car could fly by and he's walking down the street, a car would fly by, he grabs it and chucks it away and stuff like that. So I thought that they could do something funny like that, but they kind of did something like that, and I heard that they announced that they were gonna partner up with Wade. So I was like, oh, that would be awesome, because having the two comedic side characters, having one that is a warrior and one that is not a warrior, would make a funny, hilarious duo. And then some of the negatives, though, that I have about the series, why it's holding it back and putting it low for me on my tier ranking list, is like going back from my positive, even though that I like that they were going to partner up Knuckles with Wade, that's also a negative flaw too, because it almost seemed like that they really focused more on Wade and making him the main focus, and Knuckles was more off to the sidelines as a side character again. So it's like having your titled character and making him into a side character in his own series was, it kind of like, I don't know, like, I was just kind of hoping that I would see more Knuckles in the series. Like, it should have been swapped to where Knuckles should have been the main character and Wade should have been the side character helping Knuckles out. Because the premise, though, what they did for the series was actually pretty good. Like, Knuckles is teaching Wade how to be a warrior. Wade is like just using that, like, I guess, like that knowledge and stuff into bullying, I guess. But I just kind of think like they could have kept that same premise, but like kind of like making the bowling stuff like a little subplot, and like Knuckles just like the main plot of the series. And also the last thing is that the villains just kind of seemed like they were abruptly there, to where I was kind of thinking when I first watched it, who are these villains and what is their goal? And like it was just like these villains just wanted Knuckles' power to like take over the world or something. Like it was there, like they had the right stuff, but the execution of the series kind of fell short at the finish line. But yeah, so I think that's where it's going to hold that back for me, because right after Sonic 2, we were kind of just hoping that they were going to show more of the Sonic characters rather than the human characters. Then coming in right above Knuckles would be Sonic Drone Home. Now, this was a short that was very funny, and it was just a really good short. So basically, it's just the team Sonic, so Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. They're going to the library because they have to return some of Maddie's books, and they end up finding one of Eggman's drones at the junkyard, and the drone is just like rebooting or upgrading himself to try to take over the world. And like I said, it's just a funny little short that it's Team Sonic trying to stop the drone from upgrading himself. The one thing though too was that was a negative too about that short, even though that I loved it, is that Idris Elba and Colleen O'Shaughnessy, they didn't voice Knuckles and Tails in the short. They got two different voice actors. Talented voice actors, though, and did pretty good of a justice, but I kind of just wish, though, that they could have had, like, Idris Elba and Colleen O'Shaughnessy to doing their voices for Tails and Knuckles. Ben Schwartz was still the voice for Sonic, which was pretty good. But, yeah, so that was just, like, the one thing that really holds it back. But it's the Sonic characters, and we're just more heavily focused on the Sonic characters. So that was where I just really enjoyed it. I love that Knuckles pretend he was listening, and then like when he gets shot, he goes, "Oh, the sacred tomes," and I just thought it's funny, it's clever, it's good. If you have not seen Sonic Drone Home, I highly recommend you guys watch it. It's also on YouTube, just in case if you guys haven't seen it yet, or if you guys don't own the Blu-ray. And then now, wait a minute, do I have an extra tier? Let's see. One, two, three, four, five. One, two, three, four, five, six. Whoops. Okay, so we gotta move these up. Okay, let's get rid of that row. Okay, there we go. Now it should be good. So now coming in third place and going into the B tier is Sonic Movie 1. Now, it's just crazy to think where we're at now in this point in time with the Sonic movie franchise, because there were two different types of completely different outcomes of this movie franchise, to where we had this one outcome to where it was going to be a super successful franchise that we didn't even expect. And then we had this other outcome to where this was going to flop, because everyone, including myself, thought that this was going to be a complete dumpster fire. And there was nothing going in this film's favor whatsoever. And the biggest one that was the biggest talk, what like the biggest thing, was the original Sonic movie design. Ugh, even just thinking about him just gives me the chills. But anyways, so like I don't know what they were thinking when they were going to come up with when they came up with the original Sonic movie design for the character. And I just don't really think like how Sonic was developed, like how his personality and like how the character was supposed to be in this film with the original design. I just don't really think that people would have took, including myself, would have taken this character seriously. But thank you to everyone, the Sonic fans, who just backlashed and was just like, when the original trailer came out and said, this is not Sonic. And the first time ever that I've ever, in my life, I've ever seen a film company or a film studio that actually postponed the film to redesigning the character, and that just gained Paramount a whole new respect, because, like I said, I've never seen a film studio actually do that. Because I thought if the film studio would have been like, hey, you know what? We have a deadline. We're going to release the movie like on this date. Screw what you guys want. Like, we're going to release Sonic. This is how we envisioned him. This is how we're going to develop him. And then they ended up redesigning the character, and that just completely saved the movie. And then now where we're at right now in this point in time. But they were making right decisions, though. It was just that one decision that they had, it was going to completely screw up the film. Ben Schwartz was set to voicing the Sonic character. I never heard of Ben Schwartz until now, like in these film series, but I have seen his work in the past because I did some research when they announced him that he was going to be voicing Sonic. And I was like, okay, he was in the DuckTales reboot in 2017. He was also in the Rise of TMNT, the other reboot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he actually did pretty good, but it was just kind of like, I just don't know how he'll do as Sonic, but the way how he approached the character, though, he just nails it. Like, how they wanted Sonic to, like, be presented on screen and stuff like that, he just completely nails it to a T. Then they also casted James Marsden to being the human friend to Sonic, and I was kind of nervous about James Marsden at first, but then as time went on, I started getting very comfortable, because I was like, well, look at all the stuff that he's done in the past with his other films, with other CGI characters. He's had so much practice. He was in Enchanted, where he was talking to a CGI chipmunk. Then he was also in another Easter movie to where he was talking to a CGI rabbit. Or bunny. But anyways, so after I started rethinking about it, I was like, he's had so much practice to where I think this is the safest bet to have James Marsden, and the way how he looks on screen, actually talking to a CGI hedgehog, just looks so believable. The last thing is Jim Carrey playing as Dr. Robotnik. Now, after I saw that, I was like, yes. I don't think you could pick anybody better than Jim Carrey to portraying the role as Dr. Robotnik. Jim Carrey just totally captured the dramatic seriousness to the character, like the scienciness or scientistness to the character, but yet bringing the comedic to the character as well, and combining the two together, he just did such a great job. But not just the main characters, though. Everyone else, all the extras, though, too. Maddie's sister, and Maddie, too. I forgot to include her. And then also JoJo, that heartwarming scene that she had with Sonic and she gave him his shoes. That was really good. And then also Wade himself. It's just like every single actor that they brought, not just the main ones, but also the extras as well. They just did such a great job just bringing this film to life. And the story was very fun, funny, and also had a heartwarming message as well, that it was just done so well. Coming in at number 2 and going into the A tier would have to be Sonic Movie 2. Now, they took everything that I liked from the previous film from Sonic 1 and just trucked along forward with in 2. So, right at the post-credit scene or at the end credits of Sonic 1, when they introduced Tails, I went, "Oh shit. They are trying to make a sequel. Hopefully this works out." And Sonic 1 was a surprisingly successful film to where it made a lot of money in the box office when it came out in just the 1 month before the whole world shut down. And it was breaking records to being the #1 video game movie of all time. And I was just very happy to hear that they were actually making a sequel. And then they were going even further with the updates, and they said that Knuckles was going to be in the movie as well. Excuse me. And I was like, oh my god, Knuckles is going to be in this. So that means we're going to see more of the Echidna clan. And we're going to see the Chaos Emeralds and the Master Emerald. And also, if we see the Chaos Emeralds, we're going to get introduced and see Super Sonic. Like, you got to bring Super Sonic into the movie franchise. If you don't, missed opportunity right there. And then they were going to add, Colleen O'Shaughnessy was joining to the team to voicing Tails, which I love Colleen O'Shaughnessy. She's a very talented voice actress. And also Idris Elba voicing Knuckles. Very great casting right there. And all, like, just solid. And also adding 2 more Sonic characters, and that means even more references from the Sonic games into this. So like I mentioned, since that now we're bringing in Tails and Knuckles, that means all the Knuckles goodness with his backstory and the Chaos Emeralds and everything, and then also Sonic's sidekick with Tails. So that means even though that it was still in our world, basically, it still really feels like a Sonic movie. It added a lot of, like, locations in our world to where, like, they really make it feel like a Sonic, like in Sonic's world, or something like to the like some Sonic levels from the video games. Like, we had that temple fight scene with Sonic and Knuckles, which was pretty awesome. Then we also had, like, them running through, like, Sonic running through the temple to actually catching up with Dr. Robotnik and Knuckles. And then we also had that snow chase scene, which was done super well. And then what was the other? Oh yeah, I was like, what was the other one? But that's right. Then the fight scene between Dr. Robotnik and Team Sonic in Green Hills, in our world Green Hills, to where that was just done super well. But it was just like everything that I loved about the previous Sonic movie. Like, it was just, the story was done so well with Dr. Eggman just like teaming up with Knuckles and having that duo with each other, and just like having Knuckles kind of being brainwashed by Dr. Robotnik and going after Sonic, and just them kind of like teaming up together and like having that heartwarming message or whatever between Sonic and Knuckles was just done super well. And yeah, it was just done super good. Jim Carrey even stepping forward with the Dr. Robotnik character, because it almost felt like that he was holding back a bit in the first film, to where the first one was an origin story. So it was like Dr. Eggman couldn't really be too crazy, and I think Jim Carrey was kind of holding that back a bit to kind of like balancing the two. And Jim Carrey just did super awesome job just by going even forward with this character and bringing the even more craziness and wanting to capture Sonic vibe to this character, and just did super well. So even though that there was a lot of positives with this, um, we want since that we were going to get more Sonic characters, one of the biggest things that we wanted to do was we wanted to see as the film series was growing forward, because before the second movie was even released, they announced that they were going to make a Knuckles series and they were also going to make a Sonic 3 movie. So there was two more projects on the way before the second movie was even released. So they were very confident in themselves that they were delivering something here. And they did. They did. And it was really good. But so as they were announcing more projects, we were kind of hoping that since that now they're going to be introducing even more Sonic characters down the road, we kind of need to start sidelining the human characters, like kind of starting to get rid of them. And they basically kind of did. They kept all the Sonic characters with the Sonic characters throughout the film, and they kind of gave the human characters a subplot, like a wedding subplot. Like Tom and Maddie end up going to Maddie's sister's wedding. But I do agree with a lot of people that the wedding subplot was the weakest part of this movie and kind of holds it back a bit, because that wedding subplot was a little too long. It was a little too extended. But yeah, so anyways, the negatives the negatives, like the things that were holding Sonic 2 back a bit, it's basically kind of like the events, or kind of like Sonic 1, to where yes, the wedding subplot is is the thing that holds the second film back a bit, but yet they did so well and so good, just everything that you love from the previous movie, and just adding more to it, and like going more into the lore and in depth, going into more of the Sonic stuff from the video games that we've loved so much, and bringing it out into the second film. Sorry. They just did so well with it. So it's like that wedding subplot, even though that was the one thing that holds the film back a bit, all the good things with the second movie, it just covers it to where it the thing that holds it back doesn't affect the second film at all. Now, that was a very tough one, because I was kind of wondering how I was going to rank Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, because I love Sonic 2. And then they come out with Sonic 3. And Sonic 3, in my tier ranking list, I know I made the right decision. Sonic 3 really deserves that S tier, the number one slot, because I agree what everyone is saying, and I am going to say it now. This right here is peak Sonic movie franchise. This is what the film series has grown to, and is just now a solid Sonic movie of all time, to where like I said, like what's between Sonic 1 and 2, everything that I loved from the previous film, from Sonic 1, they capitalized on it with Sonic 2 and brought even more to it. And that's what they did with Sonic 3. Everything that I loved from the previous two films, they just hammered it in, they delivered it, and just everything about the film, which was just done to perfection. I've said this once before, not with Sonic 3 though, but with Sonic X Shadow Generations, when I did my game review for that. And I said that Sega just handled this remaster with so much love and care to Sonic Generations and to Shadow's story, to actually kind of continue it even forward. The team that has been making the Sonic movies, and I can tell from the beginning, from the get-go, when they did the redesign for the first Sonic movie, with redesigning the Sonic character, they are handling this film series, or this film franchise, with so much love and respect for not just the characters, for the universe of Sonic, but to the fans as well, giving the fans what they want to see on the big screen with these live-action Sonic films, and they just been doing it super, super well. And this, let me tell you, was really good. So now, where do I begin with this? I actually don't, as I'm thinking about it, because I just rewatched Sonic 3. It's on Paramount Plus, and I just rewatched this movie recently. And honestly, I don't have any negatives. I don't have any flaws with Sonic 3. That's how good it is. Like, I can't even really think of anything. And with this one, we even doubled more with the characters in Sonic 3 from the previous two. So it just means even more references and even more things that they can do with, like I said, with the lore of Sonic, and just bringing more of the from the Sonic universe into these films. And they just handled it so well. Knuckles is, or not Knuckles, shit. Shadow's backstory in this film was just done to perfection from the video games. Like, they just like very like, because they were saying that they were inspired by Shadow the Hedgehog, the Shadow the Hedgehog video game, and Sonic Adventure 2, and they were gonna like take some of the elements from those two games into this film. They just really adapted it so well in this film, and just also making this film like into like more of a darker turn, or taking this more into a darker route in the film franchise, was actually kind of refreshing and new. Also, too, so they just did super well by having the characters around Shadow. So like Knuckles, Tails, and Sonic, having them grow as well in the background, like on the sidelines, as you're focusing more on the main antagonist of the film. Ben Schwartz, Idris Elba, Colleen O'Shaughnessy, Jim Carrey, Keanu Reeves, and also the little girl that played as Maria did a really great job, and also the human characters too. They all just brought their A game to this film, and Jim Carrey, very like he was Jim Carrey is a standout, or like I don't know the word that I'm looking for. Like he was like, he just did super well in the two previous films, and then in this movie, you didn't get a whole new actor to play as Gerald Robotnik. They had Jim Carrey playing as two characters in the same film. And I remember that I was kind of thinking, even though that I was super excited for to see that, seeing Jim Carrey playing as two different Robotniks, I was even kind of thinking, how are they going to pull this off? Like, is Jim Carrey gonna just make make the two characters feel really similar, to where like they both feel like the same character? But you know what? Jim Carrey actually did do an outstanding performance, to where the both Robotniks, even though that they kind of seemed similar or kind of seemed the same, but they were both different characters, which I thought he did just a very good job. And also, I think there was a reference to a different Jim Carrey film in this movie. I don't know, because I saw this movie, and then shortly after that, I was watching The Grinch. Everyone's probably wondering, Ryan, where are you going with this? Here's where I'm thinking. There's a scene in Sonic Movie 3 to where they're sneaking into the gun headquarters to get the other key, and Gerald Robotnik says, "I'm right here. If you weren't family, I would gut you like a pheasant." It's like another character that he's done. If you much get as much as one syllable, I'll hunt you down and gut you like a fish. If you like to fax me, press the start key. It's like, gut you like a fish and gut you like a pheasant. I don't know. I just kind of think that maybe that was Jim Carrey's idea, or maybe someone from the from the behind the scenes of making the film franchise of the Sonic movies. Maybe they were kind of thinking, hey, Jim Carrey, bring this reference into it, since that we're getting close to Christmas. I don't know. I kind of just think, like, right after I saw that, I was like, is that a reference to the Grinch? I don't really know. I'm trying to figure out like all the stuff that I want to say for Sonic 3 before I forget anything. But I mean, it was just, the story was great, the characters were good, the human characters, like I said, that we kind of been wanting to see, like, as the Sonic film franchise is growing even forward, we kind of want to start getting like more of the Sonic characters and less of the human characters. And then also, I'm getting to spoiler territory. I'm hoping that everyone has saw the films, or saw the movie. I was saying this before in my predictions video. if we don't see Supersonic and Super Shadow, that would be a completely missed opportunity to bring Super Shadow into this movie. We got Super Shadow. And that was where I was like, and not only just that, but when they turned into Supersonic and Super Shadow to defeat the big thing in space that's gonna wipe out the Earth, you also did have the Live and Learn song playing, and I just went, yes. What a completely perfect time to actually play that song in this most epic climax ever. But yeah, but I can't really think about everything that I want to say. I'm hoping that I'm covering pretty much everything. But yeah. So, Sonic 3 was just really good. Like I said, it's peak in the movie franchise. It was just done super well. Like the people who have been making these films, the writers, the director, everything, everyone, the team that is behind the scenes making these films, they've been growing and learning so much. Like learning like, okay, what did we do in the previous film that was good, and like let's do more of that. So then they did that with the second film. Then they learned the negatives and stuff and all the stuff that was good in the second film, and they did it with the third film, and it was just done so perfectly. And then plus not only that, but even having the after credit scenes with the two other characters that are going to be in the fourth Sonic movie, with the announcement of Amy Rose and Metal Sonic gonna be in the next Sonic movie, it just makes me look forward to seeing like what we're gonna get next. But yeah, but anyways, that's it. I'm hoping that I got to say everything that I wanted to say for Sonic 2 and for Sonic 3. But yeah, but that's it, you guys. That is my tier ranking list of the Sonic movie franchise. And also, this is my ranking so far because we got Sonic Movie 4 on the way, so we got to add that one to my ranking list, and also my review of Knuckles series and also with Sonic 3. I tried doing the best I could by doing my review for those. But yeah, but that's it, you guys. So go in the comment section down below, do your ranking of the Sonic movie franchise because I would like to hear your guys' thoughts. So yeah, my list isn't the right list. It's just my list, and I would like to hear yours. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.